What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today in this video we're going to start doing some unboxings because we're getting behind on some of the parts that we've gotten in for the build, and I just want to do a little bit of a quick glance for you guys to see what we've got going and what's more to come here soon and some more coming up videos. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so the first box we're going to be opening is this one. We've already opened this one before. That was the BBK X pipe. That was in a previous video. This one we've had just about as long, actually the same amount of time that we've had this one. They both came with the Coyote. I had a whole trade deal. Once I start talking about pricing and stuff in a separate video here soon, I'll go over how I acquired these parts with the Coyote. But what was in this box was BBK long tube headers for the Coyote swap. I'll put the part number on the screen and then the price of them. Again, I didn't pay for them. They came with the Coyote. But if you guys are going to go to buy these, I think they're around like 700 bucks, but I'll put the price on the screen. It comes with premium header gasket kit, BBK, and then it comes with stickers and all of the hardware you'll need. It changes it over to, I believe, bolts, because what was on the Coyote before were these studs. So I still need to get the studs off of there. But yeah, we'll be switching over to bolts, and then I think it comes with the washers and stuff you need for this flange here to connect to your X pipe. But the finish looks very, very nice. The welds are not bad at all. There's a few like little things, you know, for the price. I would expect them to clean some of this stuff up. It's just from like where they cut the shape of this thing out. I would expect them to grind that a little bit better and before they, you know, put the final coat on this, or the stainless steel coating on them. But, you know, it is what it is. It's very nice. I'll give it to them. Good quality. And hopefully we pick up some performance with these. But that was the first box. All right, and the next box we're gonna open is this one from Power by the Hour. Great people to work with. Pretty quick shipping. Didn't have any sort of issues with them. There's actually multiple parts in here. This is the first box. This is the Coyote swap bracket kit. Comes with both the belts that you need, because it does change it to 2-belt system. I guess it was technically a 2-belt system before, because there was a belt over here to run your AC compressor. I think it runs your AC compressor and your alternator now, and then the other side's your power steering pump and water pump. Don't quote me on that. I haven't gone through the directions yet, but some of the brackets and bolts, all nicely packaged, good quality. Some more brackets and bolts. This is a belt drive tensioner. Looks like a tensioner. Let me see if I can open this real quick. Yep, it is a tensioner, which we wanted to replace those anyways, so that's nice. And the bolt that you need for it. Now, for those who didn't know, the Power by the Hour bracket kit allows you to run your factory 4.6 power steering pump on the Coyote in the factory location for the 4.6. So you don't have to buy a new power steering pump, and you don't have to do a bunch of custom lines. You literally can just bolt the 4.6 power steering pump up in the factory location where it would have been on a 4.6, and then you're done. You don't have to sit there and go through a bunch of custom work trying to get your power steering to work or go to manual steering. Although that is an option to save money. And then also, this kit moves your alternator from that location, because on a Coyote, the alternator would sit where your 4.6 power steering pump would be, and it moves it to the front of the engine, kind of like facing it on the passenger side, facing the head on the passenger side. And then it also allows you to have the brackets to connect your factory 4.6 AC compressor in the factory location, so you can use your factory AC lines. So it's just a plug and play kit to allow you to not have to do a bunch of custom work with all of your AC lines and power steering lines. and allows you to still have those nice luxuries. You don't have to do those things. They do just sell the alternator relocation to get the alternator out of that position and put it up facing that passenger side head, and then allows you to delete the AC if you want to and delete the power steering pump. And then they also offer different belt drives for if you have like a supercharger or a pro charger. So check them out. They have all sorts of different stuff that you guys can use for whatever your application is. So definitely recommend them. We'll see how it goes with the install, but I'm sure it'll be good. Everything looks good quality. We'll get into that in a future video. Now, the only downside, or I guess gripe I could have about the power by the hour brackets, is that you are forced to put your alternator facing the passenger side head. So it kind of like flips it around and the alternator drives backwards now. What they don't tell you, or maybe they do tell you in the directions, I think they probably do in the directions, I haven't read them yet, but you have to buy a clutchless pulley for your alternator, and I think that's another like 90 bucks to me for the price, or at least, you know, up the price a little bit and include it in the kit, whatever it may be. I think it should just come with the kit automatically since you need it for this specific setup. So I don't know why they do it separately. It doesn't really make sense to me. Either, you know, add it into the cost or just include it in the kit, because, you know, it's just something we have to go back and buy, and maybe somebody who bought it online didn't know that they needed it until they read the directions. But yeah, a little bit of a downside. All right, so the next one, we will leave this box in here because it's pretty heavy. But inside the box is all this QuickTime bell housing for a T56 to modular Ford or Coyote, but this would allow you to mount it to any sort of modular Ford. Hold it out of here. Let's see. Bench. Yeah, pretty good quality. There's the T56 right there. It didn't come with the bell housing. He actually sold the bell housing to somebody else before I got there. So it is SFI rated right there. And it comes with all of the hardware in here to attach it to not only the engine, but also to the T56 itself. Let's see what else is in the box. Looks like we've got the instructions and some stickers. Horsepower, as everybody knows, stickers equal horsepower. Whole diagram of everything for it. Ford bell housing to T56 transmission. The code for this one, I believe, is RM8080. I'll put the part number on the screen. And then the spacer plate that goes between your engine and your bell housing. Set that on there. Obviously it goes on the other side, but yeah. So that was the last piece we needed to connect our T56 to the Coyote. Hopefully if you guys are buying these either used or in the aftermarket, like new, hopefully you guys are getting them with the belt housing, because it's not cheap, either one separately. I paid $1,800 for the transmission and then $800 after shipping for the bell housing. So all in all, you know, $2,600. It's pretty expensive. It did come with, not this, but the transmission came with a flywheel and a clutch and stuff. So all in all, for the whole swap, it's not terrible to be in $2,600, but it's still pretty expensive. This was a low mile transmission, only had 14,000 miles, came out of an 04 Cobra, but definitely not cheap. But it's nice to gain that extra gear and a much stronger transmission. So, and then also I'll never have any sort of issues if I run a bunch of power with this bell housing, because it is very, very thick steel, very strong. All right, and then the last part that we got in the mail so far is a trunk floor mat. This obviously isn't something you guys will need probably, but my car didn't come with one. And I really like the nice clean OEM look whenever I pop my trunk. Right now, let's see if we can open it up. Right now it is full of parts. Let's see down here. They have some like plastic Mustang thing under there, but yeah, you can't see down in there. But it's just metal down in there. Nobody had a trunk floor mat in there. Probably in the next video, we're gonna start cleaning this stuff out because we're gonna do a battery relocation to the trunk, and then start running wiring and stuff through the car. And getting some of this stuff removed so we get the ECU in there and the wheel well out to run the wires through. But that was the last part. All right, guys, so we also got an upgraded radiator. I believe I got it off of LMR. I'll put the part number right here and where I got it. I believe it's like $195, but it is a big upgrade from the stock radiator size. You guys don't have to do this. I damaged the other one on the removal of the 4.6, so we're gonna upgrade it, but it doesn't hurt since this is a little bit bigger of an engine, and we're also maybe gonna push it a little bit more than we did the 4.6. So, but yeah, this thing it's the thickness of my thumb compared to this one, which much thinner. So hopefully that'll provide some extra cooling capacity for us. And then we also got a new AC condenser for in front of the radiator, so we don't have any sort of AC leaks. And we got all new AC components in here. We got a new dryer, all the O-rings, and an AC compressor. We're gonna get new lines too, but I haven't gotten those on order yet. Inside the next box here from Ford Performance, we have, you can kind of see peek right there, a Boss 302 intake manifold. This thing looks very nice. It'll look really good under the hood of that car. Not only do these look a lot better, I think, you know, obviously it's a personal preference. Some people might not like these intake manifolds, but I think this looks a lot better than the stock Mustang or F-150 intake manifolds. And then not only does it look better, but it does gain a little bit more power up into the higher RPM range. And it does, I believe, have a little bit of a broader power curve, I guess, if you will. Spreads the power out a little bit more and gives you a little bit more on that top range. So, you know, hopefully it will gain us a little bit, but that leads into the next modification. Now, the issue that comes into play with the Boss 302 intake manifold going into a new Edge is that it's a pretty tall intake manifold and hood clearance starts to become an issue. Some people say that it will not clear the stock GT hood, and then others I've seen say that it will. So it's gonna be hit or miss. We're gonna see. It's gonna depend on, you know, what K-member people are running, K-member spacers, so on and so forth. We're running a UPR K-member. And then over here in this box, next up, we'll hopefully maybe solve our issue. We've got UPR's K-member spacer kit, which is a 1/3 of an inch spacer for each side. And then we also have gotten their motor mount spacers. And then it comes with all the bolts and hardware, and then the other spacers for the other mount towards the back of the K-member. I believe that is it for that box. All right, guys, so that's gonna end out this video. Here in the next one, we're probably gonna start putting on some of these Coyote swap brackets from Power by the Hour, getting the accessories put on the engine, and then we're just gonna move right down the list. I think the next thing we'll do is the UPR K-member, and then we'll probably drop this engine in. So if you guys wanna see that, make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button, staying tuned. If you guys are liking this content, please hit that like button, and I will catch you guys in that next video.